Judaism with Soul 7. This sense of self that we've been developing, how do we know that we're developing it in the right direction? So God gave us a tool, an opportunity, a commandment, an obligation, an opportunity for us to use self-awareness to understand, am I going in the right direction? And in Parshas Kisisa, chapter 34, verse 21, God says, here is the tool I'm going to give you to evaluate how you're doing in your self-awareness, your consciousness, and your self-development. God says, Sheshes yamim ta'avod, 6 days you shall work. Uvayom hashvi'i tishbos, and the 7th day you shall rest. My Rebbe, Rav Moshe Shapiro, says the following. Sheshes yamim ta'avod, 6 days you shall work means 6 days you shall work on yourself. And the 7th day you shall desist from working, and just sit back and reflect on the person that you've become. What have I been working on all week? What midah, what attribute have I been working on all week? Let's sit back and reflect in the shira called Shabbos, in the completion of this circle called Shabbos. What am I doing to reflect on, to evaluate, to consider, how am I doing in this work I'm doing on myself? Am I working on my positive traits, and am I working to correct my negative traits? We have two parts of the self. We have a positive contribution to make to the world, a unique contribution that only you can make, and we have a unique personal flaw to correct in the world. We must reflect on Shabbos, on that person that we are becoming, contributing, developing, giving to the world, and also working on how am I working on my self-development in terms of fixing the flaw. Am I less angry than I was last week? Am I more hopeful than I was last week? Am I causing my temper to be calmer this week? Am I more complimentary this week? Am I more engaging with my family this week? Reflect on the mistake that I'm making. And Rabbi Saul Salanter tells us, how do we know what mistake we have to correct? The pasuk in Hosea says, "V'chashalta ba'avonecha," you shall trip on your mistake. Rabbi Saul Salanter tells us, if there is a mistake that we make over and over and over again, we keep making the same mistake, al chet, on the same al chet every year on Yom Kippur. If I only can get my act together, if I can only stop raising my voice, if I can only control my temper, if I can only be more positive, I can just get over my depression, my sadness, my negativity. And that mistake hurts me. It affects me here. It blows me away to the core of my soul and says, I wish I can fix that. Then that's my tikkun. That's my rectification. That's my soul speaking to me saying, fix me. On Shabbos is an opportunity to say, I worked on my self-control this week. I worked on my temper this week. I worked on my anger this week. I worked on my being negative this week, and I'm going to repair that. On Shabbos is a very busy time, Shabbos. Not a time to sleep, a time to reflect. In your davening, your Shabbos table, you're thinking, how did I reflect on myself? How did I improve myself? If all I am is 1 week older than I was last week, and 1 week more tired than I was last week, I haven't understood Shabbos. I haven't chapped Shabbos. I haven't understood the concept called Shabbos. Shabbos is an opportunity of personal growth. Shabbos is not a religious requirement. Shabbos is a personal growth requirement that Hashem commands of us. Grow. Work on yourself. Sheshes yamim ta'avod, 6 days you shall work on yourself. V'yom hashvi'i tishbos, and the 7th day reflect on the person that you've become. So I have to work on how I've repaired myself, how I've developed myself. At the same time, I have to work on, did I contribute this week? What did I do this week to contribute to my family, to my community, to my career, to my job, to the Kehillah, to God? So there's a positive commandment of reflecting on what I did to contribute, and a positive commandment to reflect on the negatives that I've got in my life, the character flaw that I must repair. One negative flaw must be repaired, and one positive contribution must be developed. That's what I do on Shabbos. How do we do this for our family? So let me tell you a story. I have a good friend in Jerusalem named Rabbi Yosef Kaufman who lives in Har Nof. He's a teacher, a writer, and a mechanech, a good friend of mine. And I saw one Friday night that he gave a special bracha to each of his children when I was learning in Kollel, and he gave them a whisper. And afterwards, I asked him about it. And this is what he told me, and I'll tell you how I developed it myself, and from there you'll know what he told me. On Friday night, I used to send a student of mine named Chana, let's say. And I sent her to various houses because she was becoming more religious. And she was in her 20s. She was a professional woman. And she was becoming more observant. And she said, I love the Shabbos. I love Friday night. I love the Kiddush and the candles and the songs and the kids on the parents' laps and the family togetherness and the family time. It's just so beautiful. One day I'm also going to become religious. I said, well, that's great. She said, but there's one problem. I said, what's the problem? She said, how come when the father gives the blessing to the children Friday night, it is so loveless? I said, what do you mean by loveless? She said, well, the father lines up the kids, 2, 3, 4 kids. And you know those old-fashioned typewriters? Well, he does it like this. Ding. Ding. No. Ding. And sometimes he tries to give a kiss. They miss the kiss. She says, that's a loveless blessing. Why doesn't the father give a warm, loving hug, a warm connection with the child? There's so few times that a father, usually is so busy, can have an opportunity to connect, to emotionally bond with his children. Friday night, what an opportunity. It's a lost opportunity to bond with the children. I said to myself, do I do that? I think I do. That Friday night, by the blessing of the children, after I came home from shul, I did this, rectification. My oldest daughter, she had a baby today in South Africa, baby boy, Baruch Hashem. So when she was little, 5, 6 years old, I said like this, I'm going to give you a bracha. I said, Yisimech Elokim Kisara Rivka Rachel Veleya Yivarechecha Hashem V'yishmerecha Ya'er Hashem. But she looked up to me at 5, 6 years old, and she looked up at me and said, what's Daddy doing? Daddy doesn't give blessings like this. How come? What are you doing, Dad? I said, I continued. Yisa Hashem panav elecha v'yichuneka. Yisa Hashem panav elecha v'yasim lecha shalom. And then I gave her a hug. I held the hug. And then I gave her a whisper. I said to her, you're such a helpful girl. You helped Mommy set the table for Shabbos. And you were so nice to your little brother. You read to him earlier today. You're such a giving child. I'm so proud of you. I love you. I gave her a kiss. My son heard that and said, I heard that. I said, don't worry, you're next. Come over here. I went, Yisimcha Elokim K'Ephraim V'chi Menashe Yivarechecha Hashem V'yishmerecha. I gave him a bracha, I gave him a hug. I said, you learned so beautifully this week. And you were able to learn with me 10 minutes of Chazara and review of the week and review of the Parsha. And I'm so proud of you how you played so nicely with your brother. You're a very responsible, giving child. You're a very sharing person. I'm proud of you. Gave him a hug and a kiss. And so too I went with all the children. My friend Yosef Kaufman told me that the Friday night opportunity of giving a bracha is the key is giving a bracha and giving them a whisper. Telling them a unique thing about themselves. Our job as parents is to tell our children who they are, how to understand their identity. I tell them, you're responsible, you're caring, you're giving, you're considerate, you're diligent, you're conscientious, you're so happy, you're so joyful. My job as a parent, and our job as parents, is to give our child a sense of self, a sense of identity. And they can use that proud sense of awareness and consciousness to go out into the world and say, I can accomplish in this world. I am diligent, I'm conscientious, I'm responsible, I'm caring, I'm giving, I'm compassionate. I can do things in this world if they believe in themselves. It's our job as parents to instill in our children a sense of identity, a sense of consciousness and awareness that they have value because they are a person of value and worth. That can be done on Friday night. And therefore, we can contribute to our children's development of 6 days you shall work on yourself. Sheishes yamim ta'avod, 6 days you shall work on yourself. On the seventh day, reflect. On Shabbos is an opportunity to give our children an opportunity to reflect on themselves. As we reflect on ourselves, we can teach them how to reflect on themselves, by giving them a bracha, giving them a whisper. Tell them who they are. And in that way, we can truly understand that Shabbos is an opportunity for growth. 6 days we can work on ourselves. And the seventh day, live in the person that we become.